I'm Seeley Quest. This is a piece that I performed in the 2007 Sins Invalid show. And I'd like to read for you something called a Sexy Crip Manifesto in 6 parts. 1. Sometimes I want to rip. Sometimes want to rip out my knots of back pain to hurl. I fight harsh wind and words all day, muscles set and start to edge on numb. And even after adequate sleep, I wake and resist feeling how my back will again resist relaxing all today. Yeah, I know, I have to try Feldenkrais, or yoga, or visualization techniques, or a salt bath, but I'm broke. Attention so focused just on survival and hustling each day, I just stumble into and out of my sleeping pad. 2. Halfway there. I feel halfway there, trying to live like I'm not only able-bodied, but a young punk and ass-kicking queer. Terrified of having to accommodate my body enough to become dependent on commercial routes of transportation, even though my ankles, knees, wrists, and back weary of biking me everywhere I have to go. Terrified of my bookstore job, my habits straining arms again, tendons telegraphing weakness always, and losing the fight to pass as able-bodied. To present me as a flexible, studly fucker, a queer who walks the talk. As a teenager in a neck-to-pelvis spinal brace, my back muscles were given their order by someone else. I didn't have to negotiate how to carry myself in the world. I was disabled. It was evident to all. I could relax inside my bars and plastic against the shell of a defining framework, and I've known nothing else so awfully delicious. 3. Part of that revolution. The first dyke and tranny cruising night of the 2000s in Dolores Park was organized to fill a gap, while a wheelchair femme dropped her plans to come to a queer gathering here because no one had planned for its sex party to be accessible, and then the party was cancelled due to lacking an accessible space. Yeah, she could take the playground's pavement to be ravishing, but that terrain constrains her choices. She's more exposed to police or queer bashers than in the park's wilds. I could clamber up the hills, seek fix in the grasses. It's possible at the moment. But I lived before with a wheelchair dyke on SSI. She couldn't dance that way and be part of that able-bodied revolution. 4. Why not get warehouses for giant fuckfests? Lots of us are sex positive. Lots of us want more public queering, more freedom. We want to be sexual for free, not contained to clubs or our homes, and to claim the great outdoors for our playing fields. This doesn't always exclude Crips. In the 70s bloom of Bay disability rights activism, Crips enjoyed some sexuality along with able-bodied lovers, while gay sluthood and free love were most acceptable. Sometimes, to defy repression of sex is considered the most radical thing to claim our rights to trick in the bushes if it's too risky in the street, too costly in the socially designated places. To show off to all that rugged ability to fuck in any tree, under any rock, which will never be fettered. If we fight for uncensored sexual expression, to celebrate all that we can share with each other, why not set up spaces like warehouses for giant fuckfests that are accessible? 5. I'm a randy bugger, and not all the time. I'm a randy bugger, not all the time, but often lust for living as hard and fast as it can come, to pitch myself into as far as I can take my body. I sometimes want to fuck the daylights out of a hottie, and have to weigh whether I'll risk pushing my back closer to strained, or fingers closer to barely working the next day. It can seem worth it, how I sometimes want to burn an able-bodied fever dream scene. Yet every time I go to dance in a basement or smoke a club, I think about who's not there, who won't even pretend they can extend themselves like me. 6. Who's pretending? Sometimes I fear apparent Crips think I am by claiming the experience, seeking validation for disabled status while still accessing lots of able-bodied privilege. We all learn to say to each other, your pain ain't like my pain. Maybe your pain is like my pain. I also keep learning of other limitations other passing as able people are living with. Even young, we have chronic back or joint injury, impairing pain inside, this culture has generations of walking, halting, and bedridden wounded. Who's pretending? I can make a lot of my pain hidden to myself, so driven because I see others physically dynamic and conquering the world on these terms. We worship youth and vigor, want as much distance from old age and infirmity as possible. In our cruising quests, in the states where we sweat, long to know ourselves as desirable human doings instead of human beings. I demand room for disability without fear from able-bodied kin. For Crip power to be recognized, for it to really be okay to not strive to fucking Dolores, not bluff with bravado about my body's limits, and still have sex appeal.